Okay, guys, today I'm going to talk about why I think political parties are redonkulous. Wait, what? No, please don't go. I can still throw in some party stuff. Look, balloons, streamers, confetti, please don't go. Nobody ever watches my videos. Okay, so this is the first of this kind of video that I've made for this channel, and I'm really not sure how many more or if I'm going to make more of these kinds of videos, but I felt that this was really important to talk about, because you know, it only affects the lives of anybody who lives in any country with any sort of political system. No big deal. So as I'm sure you already figured out, I really don't think that political parties in general are a good idea, whether it be the ones in England, which would be the Conservative Party, or the Liberal Democrats, or the ones in the Central African Republic, which would be the MLPC, RDC, and PUN, or in the US where they have the Republicans, the Democrats, the Libertarians, and the Green Party, or the ones in Canada, which would be the Conservative Party, or the Liberal Party. Whatever the case may be, I just generally don't think they're a good idea. And in this video, I'm going to make a philosophical argument as to why. And don't worry, I'm going to try to keep it not boring. After all, I did bring balloons. So my main point is going to be that generally what happens when a political party is formed is that a bunch of problems that have very little to do with each other end up being grouped all together, even though they have no association with each other at all. So if you agree with one specific point from that group, then you're kind of expected to go with the entirety of that group, which is what most people end up doing. And what this creates is an argument of what party you're in rather than what solution is best. And as you can imagine, this makes the already difficult task of finding a solution even harder. Because now people are more concerned with staying true to their political party, which doesn't necessarily hold all of the beliefs that they hold, as opposed to actually focusing on which solution is best. Now, one argument that I've heard from other people is that it's actually a good thing to have political parties because it helps organize and choose politicians, which is a fair point. It makes a lot of sense. But after thinking about it for a little while, I actually think it has more negatives than positives. Because, look, here's what happens. First of all, politicians are forced to choose a specific party, and then after they're elected in, they're more or less forced to stay with the ideas of that political party. So the first problem that happens is that no candidate can run with a mixture of ideas that could possibly be the best combination of solutions, or at least better than any combination of solution that the two individual parties have. For instance, imagine that there was a politician who had one solution to lower the unemployment rate and another solution to increase the physical health of everybody in that country. Now, if the first solution belongs to one party and the second solution belongs to the other party, he's going to have to be forced to choose to go with one of those parties, and he won't necessarily be able to use the other idea, even though it might be the best solution. Or if he ends up using it, it's going to take a lot of convincing because it's an opposing party's idea. Now, that's just the first thing that can happen. The second thing that can happen is that, let's say, politician gets through the elections, gets his fancy schmancy chair, and he's got a seat at the big round octangular whatever table it is. Now that this hypothetical politician has made it through all the elections, it is now his job to make a lot of decisions. Now it is time for him to make his first big decision. He is asked to decide whether or not pineapple on pizza should be legal. Now, of course, he knows exactly how to answer. But wait, what's that? You have your political, philosophical, moral, and scientific evidence that you should legalize pineapple on pizza, but it's against your party's ideas? Well, too bad! If you don't want to be cannibalized by your own supporters, you're going to have to vote against the legalization of pineapple on pizza. And side note, why does everybody hate pineapple on pizza so much? It's delicious! Like, seriously, give it a shot! Well, anyways, those are the two reasons I don't think that parties are the best thing for the political system. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that it's actually really necessary that these politicians have these different parties. Admittedly, it seems to kind of just happen whenever countries get to a certain point in size. Not entirely sure why. So let's just say, for argument's sake, completely necessary for the government and politicians to operate. That doesn't mean that the individual citizens need to operate like that. What we should be doing is, again, looking at each individual problem. This way, we don't completely disregard everything somebody else has to say simply because we disagree on this one thing. Having a mindset of who has the most logical solutions as opposed to who's in what party will make it so that you're more capable of deciding which politician is actually better for the job. Now, another argument that I hear from a lot of people is, oh, well, my daddy was a conservative, and my great-granddaddy was a conservative, and my great-great-granddaddy was a conservative, and my great-great-great-granddaddy was a conservative, and by golly, I'm a conservative. Okay, so a couple things about that argument. First of all, it is very true that most children will tend to share a lot of qualities from their parents, hopefully the good ones, but they tend to share a lot of qualities both physically and personality-wise. But that being said, kids are not carbon copies of their parents. They tend to be at least a little, if not a lot, different from their parents. So, of course, I'm not telling you to disobey your parents. That's just dumb. But what I am saying is that when it comes to politics and you're grown up and you understand the world around you for the most part, then as long as you have some sort of logical reasoning not to follow your parents' political ideologies to the dot, then that's fine. Just so long as you can say, okay, this is why, here is the logic, here's the reason, here's the evidence. And again, you shouldn't be trying to choose sides. You should be focused on what solution is going to work the best. But let's just say, for argument's sake, you are a carbon copy of your parents, and they were a carbon copy of their parents, and so on and so forth. So now you're somehow identical to your great-grandmama. Here's the thing with that. Even if you are somehow identical to your great-great-great-grandma or whoever it may be, whoever they supported and the party that they belong to are probably not identical to the current party and its members. Take, for instance, I don't know, U.S. history. That's kind of what just popped into my mind after a good amount of world history studies. Anyways, let's take two presidents from their history. First, Abraham Lincoln. He was, of course, a Republican. Second, Donald Trump, their current president. He is also a Republican. Now, you may like these presidents, you may not like these presidents, but I think we can all agree that fundamentally, they are very different people. Now, you may think it's a good, bad, or neutral difference, but it still stays that there is still a difference. So, with that being said, there's a very good chance that if, say, Donald Trump was running for presidency instead of Lincoln way back when, then there's a good chance she wouldn't have voted Republican. So even if your political beliefs are identical to your great-grandmama's, that still doesn't necessarily mean that you have to support the same party as she did, because fundamentally it might not be the same party that she supported. I suppose what I've been trying to say in this video is try to focus on the individual topic as opposed to what political party you belong to, and try not to strongly dislike other people simply because they belong to another political party. If you look at the individual topics, you might actually have a lot in common. And I'm probably going to make a whole video dedicated to this next point, but you have to respect the person that you're trying to convince. Because if you don't, how can you expect them to show you enough respect to listen to what you have to say? Well guys, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and didn't smash your phone in frustration from watching me. If you guys have any other ideas about what kind of videos I can make or just how I can improve the quality of my videos, go ahead and leave it down in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'm sure you already know what to do. There's a subscribe button over there and a bell button over there. Make sure to hit those. I post on a bi-weekly basis, so until next time, hear nothing and listen to all. Bye guys!